is the Voice of Turkey's English language transmission, broadcasting from Ankara in an 90-meter band between 1230 UTC and 1545 kHz, and in the 49-meter band between 1830 UTC and 5945 kHz to Europe. The Voice of Turkey is also beamed between 2030 2130 UTC in the 31-meter band on 9875 kHz to South Asia and Australia, and in the 25-meter band on 11660 kHz between 1630 730 UTC to Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. You can listen to us over the Turksat 3A and 4A satellites on the internet at www.trtdinle.com through the links, radios and then the Voice of Turkey. Our email address is englishdesk@trt.net.tr. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Monday, August 14, 2023. This is the Voice of Turkey's English language transmission, broadcasting from our studios in capital Ankara. Let's start with the news. At least 3 people were wounded in 2 waves of Russian drone and missile attacks overnight on the port of city of Odessa. An official and the military in the Ukrainian region on the Black Sea said. As a result of the enemy attack in Odessa, several fires broke out from fallen rocket fragments, the governor, Oleg Kiper, said on the Telegram messaging app. Windows in buildings were blown out by the blast wave. The Operation Command South said on Telegram that Ukraine has downed 3 waves of Russian missiles and drones targeting Odessa. The enemy attacked Odessa region 3 times during the night, using 2 waves of attack drones, a total of 15 and 8 caliber type C-based missiles, he added. Air defense forces repelled all the attacks, but falling debris damaged a student dormitory and a supermarket in Odessa city center, leaving 3 workers wounded, the army added. The blast wave damaged windows and balconies in several buildings and damaged car parks, it said, adding that firefighters were battling 2 blazes. Russia and Ukraine have stepped up attacks in the Black Sea since Moscow exited a deal last month that had granted Kiev's grain exports safe passage during the conflict. Since withdrawing from the agreement, Moscow has pounded ports in the Odessa region that were key for Ukrainian grain exports under the deal. On August 2nd, Russia struck port infrastructure in Izmail, one of the main export routes for Ukrainian agricultural products to neighboring Romania. Taiwan will not be afraid nor back down in the face of threats, the island's vice president told supporters on a U.S. visit that Beijing has condemned while reiterating a willingness to talk to China. William Lai, also a frontrunner to be Taiwan's next president in the January elections, is in the United States on what is officially a transit stop on his way to Paraguay for the inauguration of its new president. Paraguay is one of only 13 countries to maintain formal ties with the Chinese-claimed island Taiwan. Taiwan and the United States both say their stopovers, including one in San Francisco on the way back, are routine, but China has denounced them and called Lai a separatist troublemaker. Lai told a supporters launch in New York on Sunday that if Taiwan is safe, the world is safe. If the Taiwan Strait is peaceful, then the world is peaceful, according to Taiwan's presidential office. No matter how great the threat of authoritarianism is to Taiwan, we absolutely will not be scared nor cower. We will uphold the values of democracy and freedom, he said. China considers Taiwan it is the most important diplomatic issue and is a constant source of friction between Beijing and Washington, which is the island's most important international backer and arms supplier. In the meantime, Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu is set to visit Russia and Belarus, his ministry announced on Monday. Li will attend the 11th Moscow Conference, International Security on Tuesday, said Colonel Wu Qian, spokesman of China's Defense Ministry. He is also expected to hold talks with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Shoigu, and other officials. Wu said the Chinese defense chief will also visit Belarus until the weekend to hold meetings and talks with Belarusian state and military leaders and visit Belarusian military units. The visit comes at the invitation of Li's Belarusian counterpart, Viktor Kranin. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un again toured major munitions factories and ordered a drastic increase in the production of missiles and other weapons, state media said Monday. As the South Korean and U.S. militaries announced they will begin major drills next week to hone their joint capability against the North's evolving nuclear threats. Kim's push to produce more weapons also comes as U.S. officials believe Russia's defense minister recently talked with North Korea about selling more weapons to Moscow for its war with Ukraine. During the stop at the missile factory, Kim set a goal to drastically boost production capacity so the facility can mass produce missiles to meet the needs of frontline military units.
The news continues on the English language broadcast of the Voice of Turkey.
Poland's ruling party wants to ask voters in a referendum whether they support accepting thousands of illegal migrants from the Middle East and Africa as part of a European Union relocation plan, the country's prime minister said, as his Conservative Party seeks to hold on to power in an October parliamentary election. Mateusz Morawiecki announced the referendum question in a new video published on social media on Sunday. It indicated that his party, Law and Justice, is seeking to use migration in its election campaign, a tactic that helped it take power in 2015. Poland currently hosts more than 1 million Ukrainian refugees who are primarily white and Christian, but officials have long made it clear that they consider Muslims and others from different cultures to be a threat to the nation's cultural identity and security. European Union interior ministers in June endorsed a plan to share out responsibility for migrants entering Europe without authorization, the root of one of the bloc's longest-running political crises. The Polish government wants to hold the referendum alongside the parliamentary election scheduled for October 15. Morawiecki said that the question would say Do you support the admission of thousands of illegal immigrants from the Middle East and Africa under the forced relocation mechanism imposed by the European bureaucracy? Meanwhile, United Kingdom government is under increased pressure over migration policies. The capsizing of an overloaded boat carrying migrants in the English Channel on Saturday has put renewed pressure on British lawmakers as criticism over the controversial British Stockholm migrant barge continues. Britain's policy of tackling small boat crossings is set to face pressures from both the ruling Conservative and opposition Labour parties over the incident, which left at least 6 dead. Home Office Secretary Suella Braverman offered her condolences. Bridget Phillipson, Shadow Secretary of State for Education and Labour MP for Howden and Sunderland South, said such incidents were absolutely tragic. The incidents in the English Channel demonstrate why we need much tougher action to crack down on criminal gangs that are exploiting people, putting them in harm's way, she told BBC. Phillipson described the Home Office as being increasingly shambolic and completely incompetent. She pointed to the need for a better, fairer system to address a backlog of asylum applications that is completely out of control. Prosecutors in the United States, Georgia, who are investigating efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state, are reportedly in possession of text messages and emails linking members of Donald Trump's legal team to a breach of voting machines in Coffee County in January 2021. Sources told CNN that the prosecution has evidence that Trump's team pressured some people to gain access to the voting software. The text messages and other court documents show how Trump lawyers and hired operatives sought to access Coffee County's voting systems as they continued to hunt for any evidence of widespread fraud they could use to delay certification of Joe Biden's electoral victory, said CNN. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis is expected to seek charges against more than a dozen individuals when her team presents its case before a grand jury next week. On Saturday, CNN said at least 2 people have been summoned to appear before a Fulton County grand jury on Tuesday. The latest developments have raised expectations that a 4th indictment against Trump will be presented soon. In Africa, Niger school leaders that toppled Mohamed Bazoum said they would prosecute the deposed president for high treason and undermining the security of the country in a statement right out on national television. The Nigerian government has so far gathered evidence to prosecute the deposed president and his local and foreign accomplices before the competent national and international bodies for high treason and undermining the internal and external security of Niger, said Colonel Major Amadou Abdramin. Earlier on Sunday, head of a religious delegation or mediators said that the leader of military junta is ready to consider a diplomatic solution to the country's standoff with the West African bloc called ECOWAS. And finally, Bosnian forward Dzeko scores double as Fenerbahce start Turkish league with win. So it's sports. And Edin Dzeko led Fenerbahce began the 2023-24 Turkish Super League campaign with a 2-1 win over Gaziantep Football Club on Sunday. Bosnian forward Dzeko scored twice in the third and 18 minutes to be the key player for the home win at Ülker Stadium. Dzeko, who left Inter Milan this summer, was in the area to score both goals. In injury time of the first half, Arda Kızıldağ was on the score sheet for Gaziantep. His header encouraged the visitors. In the first half, Gaziantep Football Club's Romanian player Alexander Maxim, who had already been booked, was sent off for protesting the referee's decision for a foul. Meanwhile, Fenerbahçe right back Bright Osayi Samuel was injured during the match and the Nigerian player walked off the pitch. Fenerbahçe won the match 2-1 to make a good start to the Turkish Super League. On Saturday, defending champions Galatasaray drew with Monday home Kayserispor 0-0 in an away match in the league's opening week. And that was the news and sports brought to you by the Voice of Turkey.